Okay, so first we are making our chorizo-spiced braising liquid for our short ribs. So I've got some ancho chili powder and some paprika, some cumin, coriander, and kosher salt. And we have some black pepper, cinnamon, ground clove, and some minced garlic. And then not traditional, but I like to add 1 chipotle pepper. It's a wee bit spicy. So if you don't like super spicy stuff, you can leave this out altogether. You can also use smoked paprika if you want like extra smoky flavor. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of bone broth just to give it some substance here so it can blend up nicely. Let it rip. All right, I think we're ready to brown our beef. All right, so now it is time to brown our meat. We have some boneless short ribs here. I know chorizo is usually made with pork, but I just love braised beef so much. So we're breaking the rules today. I'm gonna go ahead and salt these really, really good. Shouldn't have dirtied this hand. So we're gonna add a little bit of neutral oil to the pan, whatever you fancy. I like to use organic expeller pressed canola oil because it is high in omega-3s. And it has a high smoke point. Make sure the bottom is thoroughly coated. Ooh, we're smoking, we're smoking. I'll turn the heat down just a bit. We do want the surface of this pan to be really, really hot because that's what's gonna give us a really nice golden brown crust. You want there to be enough fat in the pan to sufficiently bubble kind of around each piece of meat. It doesn't need to be drowning, just enough so that there's like a thin layer of oil across the whole bottom. Maybe a tablespoon total, maybe. We're gonna brown this on all sides. And we're gonna add in our braising liquid, the rest of our bone broth, and we're popping this baby in a low oven for like a few hours. Yeah. Oh. I mean, beauty. Love it. This thing does not have a low function. All right, so I just turned this down as low as I could without the flames completely going out. But we have sufficiently caramelized our meat. Looks really, really good. Now it's time to add our bone broth and our braising liquid. And I think I'm gonna do the bone broth first to just kind of chill this situation out. All right, we're gonna add this. All right, so we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. And then we're gonna put the lid on and pop it in the oven. Okay, in it goes at 275, 300 for around 3.5 to 4.5 hours, or until everything just kind of pulls apart really easily. God, I love braised meat. All right, so while the beef is in the oven, we are going to prep our red onion for our pickled onions and some jalapenos for our queso. So I like to remove the center bits here. Not gonna throw it away. I'll use it later, but I like just these outer layers of the onion for the pickled onions. So we're gonna just slice this pretty thin. The thinner you slice, the quicker they will pickle. The thicker you slice, the longer they'll take to pickle, but they'll be a little crunchier. Oh, I forgot to see. This is what happens when I don't remove the center. You end up with these like big pieces, which, you know, if you want to leave them in, fine. Your life. You know how people just go, like, I feel like I chopped my hand off. Like I can't even, and did I forget to take it out again? I just like the gliding motion better than the straight up and down situation. Okay, so I have a mason jar. I believe this is a 2-cup mason jar. We're just shoving all of these onions inside. And I probably don't need more than this for the recipe, but I like to make extra because Shane really loves pickled onions. All right, so we'll revisit this in a moment, but first we're going to prep our jalapenos. You can use gloves if you're worried about touching these and then touching something sensitive, you know? I just wash my hands after. Sometimes it still burns when I touch my eye, but I just don't like using disposable gloves for something like this. There's enough plastic that gets wasted. So I'm just scooping out the majority of the ribs and the seeds, but if you like it spicier, you can leave them in or leave some of it in. And then I like to finely chop these because they're going to go in queso. Oh no. You see, you know, you could wear gloves, but what if it squirts into your eye, huh? So this actually feels like a good amount of jalapeno. I might do just like a tad bit more. Otherwise, I'm just gonna like save the rest of that for salsa, actually, would be great. Oh yeah, no lost fingies. Got some hair in my face. All right, now it is time to make our pickling liquid, and then we will make our queso, and around that time, our meat should be done, because I've just been kind of chilling here for a little bit, yeah. This pot is obnoxiously small for this hot plate. It may fall in, we'll see. All right, so we're making our pickling liquid. I like to be super simple with this. You can add all sorts of seasonings or whatever. I like to kind of just go with black pepper and salt, a little sugar, some vinegar. So first we're gonna toast our whole black peppercorns. Not really measuring anything here. It is very hard to screw this up. Ooh. Ooh, you hear them start to pop. They get really fragrant. Keep them moving so they don't burn. All right, so now we're gonna add our red wine vinegar. And around 3/4 of a cup to a cup. We're gonna add some water to this as well. All right, added maybe a 1/4 cup or so of water. And we're gonna add some salt, healthy pinch, and a little bit of sugar, maybe like a teaspoon. If it ends up being too salty, too sweet, you can add more vinegar. It should really be to your taste at the end of the day. Just keep in mind, it is supposed to be heavily seasoned. It's supposed to have a very strong flavor because it's going to just infuse these onions. It's not like we're going to be drinking this liquid. Okay, so turning off the heat now that it's come up to simmer / boil there for a second. And usually I do this in the sink, which I do recommend, but since we're here, I'm going to just be careful. All right, so carefully pour all of this hot liquid into your onions. Let's see. Okay, see, already made a mess. All right, all the way to the tip top. Really push all those onions deep down. Okay, done. All right, and that's it, guys. This just has to sit for a little while. You don't have to heat the liquid up if you don't want. You can just add the vinegar and everything to the onions. It just takes longer for them to pickle. So adding the hot liquid, these will be done in maybe 15 minutes, maybe less even. I am gonna wait for the liquid to cool off before putting this top on. Otherwise, we are ready for our queso, I think. All right, now it is time to make our queso. I love queso so much. The jalapenos that we diced earlier, we're gonna char them up nice and hot. So just adding a little neutral oil to the pan again. This is canola, about a teaspoon, not too much. And our jalapenos. Nice pinch of salt. This is dangerous stuff. we want this to be over a pretty high heat because we want to kind of char them up in the pan. Meanwhile, I'm gonna open up a can of evaporated milk. I like to use whole evaporated milk. You can pull this out if you like. That's no fun. Fun fact, evaporated milk has about the same amount of fat as half and half, but it's got twice the amount of protein as whole milk and like way more protein than half and half. Holding my breath. Looking good. All right, I feel like these are about good. It's as much as I can handle. I'll show you a little bit what they look like. You can see that. All right, I feel like we're good. Got a sufficient charring. So now we're gonna add our can of evaporated milk. Because of the higher protein content, this can actually come up to a boil. We're not gonna bring it to a boil per se. We're just gonna, oh no! As I was saying, you can bring it up to a boil and it won't split like half and half would. You just want to bring this up to a gentle simmer, and then we're gonna turn down the heat just a touch and add our cheese and some collagen for some extra protein action. All right, so it's about at a simmer, we're adding the collagen. Half a cup, and this is 36 grams of protein. All right, so we're just whisking to dissolve this, make sure there's no clumps. And we're gonna let this simmer for a little while actually, just to reduce it a little bit more before we add our cheese. Doing this means we'll have to use less cheese to thicken the overall mixture for the same amount of protein. All right, now that it's reduced a bit, we're gonna start to add our cheese. I'm gonna turn the heat down. You could cut up the cheese, it's just white American. It's the best for queso, among other things. I just throw in the whole slices. Don't need to bother with the chopping. Oh, it's looking good. All right, let's go ahead and taste this now that the cheese is fully melted. You don't want it to be too thick right now either. We are gonna take this off the heat and it's gonna kind of tighten up a little bit. We wanna still be able to pour it over the nachos. The jalapeno flavor is so good. Need a little bit more salt. I'm gonna add some pepper. All right. You can see this is gonna be hot. I'll show you in the back of the spoon how it kind of stays there. That line. It's not going into that area that I swiped at all. So it's appropriately thick. And I think that our beef is about done. Oh boy. All right, so we've got this beautiful meat that's just falling apart at this point. All right, so I have a can of pinto beans that I've drained and rinsed. Whole thing's going in. Looks beautiful. You can leave the beans out if you want, but it adds so much more fiber and extra protein. So now I have a lime. Ideally it'd be a whole lime, but this has got like a little wedge missing out of it. So I'm gonna zest this and then we're going to add the juice into here as well. Lots of beautiful green lime zest. All right. Hopefully we get some juice out of this. I microwaved it a little bit. It's supposed to help kind of loosen it up. All right. Ooh, a little spicy. So I'm gonna add just a splash of apple cider vinegar as well, like a tablespoon. All right, I think we're ready to assemble. All right, here is our assembly station. I've got some tortilla chips that I put on a sheet pan and toasted in the oven for 5 to 10 minutes until they are golden brown and crispy and a little warm. First, we are going to add a little bit of our queso. I'm gonna just add like a circle of the queso on our serving plate here. If you wanted to build this on a sheet pan so that you could pop the whole thing in the oven after you're done building, you totally can, but it's not 100% necessary. So now I'm gonna take our warm chips. This is about 10 ounces of chips. Now we're gonna add some of our meat in here. About a quarter, I think I'm trying to do 4 layers here. And we are gonna follow that with more cheese sauce. Fun fact, this is a Guy Fieri recipe, and I just realized that the episode of Guy's Big Project that I get kicked off of involved the trash can nachos. There's a literal picture of me holding the trash can nachos on the day of the challenge that I lost. Full circle. So next we're gonna add some avocado. You can use a towel on this hand if you're worried about cutting it. Ooh, perfection. So I'm just gonna dice inside here, and again, if you're worried about going through the skin and cutting yourself, you can do this on a cutting board, you can put a towel underneath. And then from here, we're just gonna scoop out that flesh. And it's all diced up for us. So we can just sprinkle some of that in. So I'll use about half of this. Now the pickled onions. The one thing that you need to remember about these is you do not want to get those peppercorns in. They are not fun to chomp on. And last, we've got some green onion. So we are going to repeat that a few more times, and then we will reveal our masterpiece. All right, we're on our last layer. Woo. 'A little bit extra, but you can just use that for your individual portions. Put that on the table with the whole thing. The finishing touch. Oh my goodness. 5 bucks at Walmart. All right, there's only one thing left to do, so let's get to it. A terrible pour, admittedly. I didn't used to like IPAs, but I do now. I just like love bitter flavors. This is lovely and it's perfect for today, obviously. I need like 5 of these to cover my precious pence. Look at this masterpiece. Oh my goodness. Marvel at it. Genius way to construct nachos to really ensure that you get a little bit of everything almost on every single chip, which is like the biggest problem with regular nachos in my opinion. All right, I feel like this is like Jenga. I'm gonna start from the top to play it safe. Maybe I should start from over here. Oh my gosh, this is a good one. Oh, look at that. I got some Greek yogurt off camera. Oh. I mean, look at this. Oh my goodness. We've done it. Oh, delicious. So cheesy. The meat is so luscious. So much spice, freshness from the scallion, the avocado, the Greek yogurt, the onion. Oh my gosh. And I'm so happy that everything is in every layer except for the Greek yogurt. It might make things a little slippery in there. Don't want to mess with the construction anymore. This is like a game. Kind of like this like double chip idea too. Oh my gosh. Mmm. Holy crap. I hate when people skimp on toppings. Like, I hate it. And I want like even coverage of everything. Oh. Everything together just feels balanced and surprisingly not super heavy. Ooh, spicy. Oh, dang it, I lost one of my napkins. Man down. They're so satisfying. The chips are still so crunchy. Chips on the bottom might be a little suspect. I'm not sure how crunchy they still are, but this is holding together real well. That's all I have to say. Oh man. I'm gonna one more. And it's surprisingly easy to pull apart. I thought that this thing was totally gonna fall over, not gonna lie. And I've been pulling from different places. I'm honestly full, I shouldn't have this, but I just, one more bite and like, I'm seriously. I barely even touched this, but oh my gosh, it's also very good together. It just feels right. The bitterness, I think, helps cut the richness in the meat and the cheese too. So like really refreshing. Almost like citrus peely. It feels like you're biting into something like that. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. The recipe and the nutritional information for this is in the description of the video. It's on my website. Take a look so you guys can make this yourselves at home. It is just top notch, top notch. And I'll put a link to the can that I bought too. So it was like $4.50 or something like that at Walmart. And they do like this Walmart Plus like free trial or whatever for 30 days. And so you get 30 days of free shipping with no minimum order. This is not an advertisement for Walmart because I plan on canceling. So I got that thing shipped to my house. There's not even an option to leave a tip. Like, it's not that kind of thing. And so for $5, I had this giant can delivered to my house. considering it a win. So anyways, all that information plus the nutritional heroes are also on the site. Anything 20% daily value or more vitamins and minerals, I list that there as well, because that makes us feel extra good about this food that we're eating. I show you that cheese and meat and things that are often demonized can and do have benefits. Anyways, rant over. Thank you so much for joining today. I love you guys. I appreciate you. Comment below all the things. What did you think? Blah, 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 blah. Anything you want, really. And I'll see you guys next time.